I want to talk to you now with another nor'easter on the horizon about winds and why we get some flooding in some areas, not in others. With the last storm, a lot of people were asking about it. I'll step out of the way and break it all down for you, then step back into the picture. Not all winds are created equal. We had those 50-some mile-per-hour winds, but not a ton of flooding. Everybody was asking why. Well, it really depends on three factors: speed, duration, and direction, or as we call it, fetch. But I just didn't want to use that technical term. You all understand direction, so that's what we're going to talk about. Direction is especially important in nor'easters here in Hampton Roads. That very same wind can mean flooding, or it can mean a lack of water. And let me explain that. In fact, if you were watching, we were talking about it with the last nor'easter. We had some areas that had some minor flooding, almost on the border of moderate. Other areas, the water was so low that it actually caused damage in some of the marinas at the very same time. Like not when the storm was passed and switched directions or anything. So let's take a northwest wind, for example. We all know nor'easters drive the water into the area because it comes off the ocean, drives it into our region. Northwest winds, however, a little bit different effect, and that's what we had a lot of the time with the last storm. So they come in out of the northwest, heading to the southeast. So let's talk about a couple of different areas as we zoom in. For example, right here along Buckrow Beach, a northwest wind actually takes what water is there and pushes it out to sea. So you get very, very low water levels near the beach, even way lower than a typical low tide. And that's why we had some marinas that, again, had some damage from the low water levels. At the same time, take a northwest wind. Now, instead of the upstream focus being land, now you've got water that's been building up, huge area of water there in the Chesapeake Bay. Northwest wind takes all of that and it just shoves it right down into places like the Lynn Haven Inlet. So at the same time that Sewell's Point didn't have a lot of water because they didn't have all that bay water coming in, they just had a little bit of the James River to deal with, because that's back again sort of west. That northwest wind did not affect Sewell's Point nearly as much as it did places like Lynn Haven Inlet, which saw the water levels considerably higher on the flood stage compared to what we saw some other regions. So that's what we're going to deal with any nor'easter, especially the one coming up for Sunday and into Monday, is we'll have to wait and see, because we know we're going to have strong winds. Will they be northeast? Will they be north? Will they be northwest? Because it affects different areas.